Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at one of the best comic books of all time, one of my all-time favorites, Uncanny X-Men 198, Life Death Part 2, written by Chris Claremont and illustrated by the amazing Barry WINDSOR-Smith. Check out this gorgeous cover. I cannot wait to show it to you guys. Please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and let's get right into it. I feel strongly, I'm sure, even though I feel like I think my brother got Machine Man, and I might have peripherally been aware of Barry WINDSOR-Smith's art, just because I was always obsessed with comic book art, and I think became aware of the difference between artists kind of early on, and tried to follow them, the ones that I liked, and seek them out, and I was very excited to discover this new, to me, artist, Barry WINDSOR-Smith, on Uncanny X-Men 185. I was, an avid X-Men collector a couple years into it at the time, and, one of the strengths, in addition to having a rock, hard, solid core writer like Chris Claremont guiding the ship, he had these amazing collaborations throughout the decades, I guess, well, the 70s, 80s, almost into the 90s, I guess. Quite the voice of the X-Men, but, a strength of that tenure was his amazing collaborations with some really amazing artists, and he's very generous as a collaborator, and it just shined through. He let his artists shine and bring, their strengths to the table, and definitely catered his writing around what he thought they might enjoy drawing, and just, I think that really shows. And I don't know how existent that kind of collaboration or thing is in mainstream comics anymore. I feel like a lot of the art, and I don't know if that's because, not to knock digital or whatever, but it's all being, all these artists are kind of inking their own stuff on Procreate and stuff, and it's kind of very automatic in a lot of ways, so a lot of it's samey. I feel like that some of the current Marvel and DC artists are a little undistinguishable from each other. Not to say that they aren't, sort of aesthetically pleasing, but I don't know, I just look at look at this breathtaking splash page, look at this gorgeous, and, I feel like 185 X-Men was a good introduction to Barry Smith's art for me, and it's very interesting because Terry Austin inked that issue, and it was completely gorgeous, and maybe was, a good, starter kit for BWS art, as someone who's used to a slightly more traditional aesthetic, then he inks himself, and I'm, completely blown away. I just, love this. He would ink issue 205, too. That great Wolverine issue, that, Christmas issue with Power Pack, and, so good. But, I don't know, it just felt special. I even felt the credit box, the lettering here, it seemed a little more elevated. The lettering here, I don't know. Barry WINDSOR-Smith was often known to, letter a lot of his own stuff. He would co-letter and do a lot of more of the fancy looking letters. So, or the, classic, sort of period looking letters. And to fit the aesthetic of his very, romantic sort of classical style that he adopted with a lot of these, long lines and sort of almost block art, but very beautiful, pen and ink. Sort of very classic, romantic, Renaissance kind of, with the Roman noses and the way he draws his eyes. And so this is Storm. She's sort of on this vision quest in a way. She was on this, I don't know, I feel like she was trying to do some sort of soul searching or whatever. She was going back to Africa. She wound up getting shot, it grazed her head, and she collapsed in the desert. So she's having this fever dream as she's walking through the desert, and sort of this is your life. It's very it's very like gut wrenching in a lot of ways. It's funny, like now that I say that out loud, um, there's such an emotional impact to a lot of the work that Barry Windsor-Smith does. Like his monsters is very dark and very, emotional. And I think that says a lot about an artist to be able to capture such emotion. And I think, that speaks to what I was saying before. It's like, I think a lot of that might be lost on a lot of the modern superhero comics. Just a lot of standing and posing, and I don't know, just like Storm's head in her hand while she's holding Jean's hand. And it's so weird because, like, I remember taking a minute to sort of absorb this vision of Barry Windsor-Smith's classic X-Men, like with these dour sort of classical Roman statue faces and just like their great poses and Kitty's like extra curly hair. And I don't know, I just like remember being immediately in love with this. Oh, and I have to say, and I know this may sound silly, but bear with me, especially if you're an artist. I hope that many artists watch this and get something out of it, just like a shared experience or an observation. But this is why I go over and over again saying, like, you really do need to learn how to draw. And I don't care if that's just you putting a potato in front of yourself and drawing it, or a roll of paper towels, or crumpled fabric. It pays off in spades when you have beautiful images like this. Look at the way, like, you can see the wind blowing through her caftan, and just like the way it's beautifully draped around her figure. That makes for some beautiful, impactful, compelling art. And you can pull that off in any style, genre, or whatever, however you break it down, if you know the fundamentals of that. So that's why I urge learning how to draw. It's sort of, it gives you such leverage. And then you can just go nuts from there. I mean, this was deep, dark stuff. Like, I feel like Storm, I mean, look, she's got like the grazed, the bullet grazed her head, and like this is like a fever dream or whatever she's going through as she's like dehydrated and like trying to walk through the desert. She confronts Xavier. Like, who didn't Charles Xavier let down in life? My God. Sorry, Charlie, but kind of a dick, right? Sorry if you disagree with me. I mean, I love him for what he is, but like, he wronged them in so many ways. Much like Queen Hippolyta, I have such a beef with her when it comes to Princess Diana. I know mother-daughter relationships can be complicated, but I still have issues. Look at the beautiful, is BWS coloring in this as well? Yes, I believe he is. Because Glynis Wine is not credited, and she would be the only other person coloring this. I believe she colored 185. But BWS was like such a one-man show a lot throughout his career, which is ironic because I feel like the slight controversy surrounding a lot of his 90s work is that he did sort of work with the studio who he would have, he would do like pencils, like ink here and there, like maybe do layouts, and then like with Alex Bialy and I forgot who else, but like would finish a lot. And I don't know, it created sort of like a house style in the BWS effect, which I don't know, like Monster, 30 years in the making, classic epic. I don't know if he used assistants or not. I think it was mostly him, like, and I would not knock him if he had somebody coming in spotting blacks or something like that. I mean, he's no spring chicken, and it's a gorgeous book. It's beautiful. So, but this looks like pure BWS. And the big unfortunate shame of this book is that there was supposed to be Life Death Part 3. I don't know if BWS, I think he definitely like conceptualized it and somehow they pitched it. I don't know if one thing I have to say, like, I do think it's weird that Weapon X happened without Chris Claremont. That was sort of a dick move on BWS's part to sort of, like, be like, even though you're the godfather of the X-Men, I'm going to go ahead and, like, pitch this, you know, Wolverine origin story. Hopefully it doesn't clash with anything you have in mind, but then again, I guess, you know, it showed his marketability and the fact that, you know, it doesn't matter. If the Marvel owns the characters, at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want with them. But that said, this art is gorgeous. There was supposed to be part 3. It did not happen. And Barry WINDSOR-Smith would wind up reworking it with his storyteller's character, Ad Astra. And the gorgeously graphic novel, which I covered, if you want to Google that or search for that. Maybe I'll link it, whatever. The Ad Astra in Africa graphic novel, but it just sort of felt short in the way, and this is the only slight criticism I have with Monster, the graphic novel, is that I know it started out as a Hulk graphic novel, and he got pissed, or they rejected it, or something happened, like Bill Mantlo sort of appropriated elements of the story, and Barry WINDSOR-Smith got pissed about it, so he left and turned it into its own thing. And it paid off in spades. I mean, it is a beautiful book. I also covered that. I'll try to link it. And, I mean, it's just, like, one of the best graphic novels of all time. It's beautifully illustrated. The emotional heart's there. It's, like, a kick in the crotch. It's mind-boggling. It's amazing. I mean, Barry WINDSOR-Smith, what can we say? From his start, you know, in his more traditional style, doing Thor, I guess, and some other characters. But I do feel like one of the things that, like, really, you know, like, knocked it out of the park with him finding this gorgeous style is that even in his more traditional superhero work, there is a certain sort of romantic element and romantically classic element, in my opinion, that just sort of, I don't know, just has like such a timeless appeal. It's just beautiful. I mean, just look at this art. It's amazing. His hatching is so gorgeous. And it's like, this is what I'm saying, like, once again, why I speak of, you know, learning to know how to draw everything. It's like, or just making it look believable. You know, it's like knowing how to make it before you break it. And then you can fake it. And, you know, if you don't have the natural talent, just know that everything is broken down in shapes and, like, the beautiful textures he's created. Beautiful. I would love to see this original art. IDW, Scott Dunbier. Are you listening? Like, where's the BWS X-Men artist edition? We need that yesterday. It can include Uncanny X-Men 185. What was it? 198 that we're looking at here. 205, the Power Pack Wolverine issue. What else could it have? Weapon X. I mean, that should be included, right? That's like, because there's only a certain amount of Barry WINDSOR-Smith X-Men art. And then with the Weapon X, that would beef it up exponentially. That issue of X-Men he did inked by Bob Wiacek with, like, Dazzler on the cover and Malice. I mean, that was a great issue in itself. Very different. Very big progress of, like, different artistic looks, and all great in their own right. It I love this image so much. I just thought, you know, it's like Mohawk Storm was so beautiful and so regal, and just, like, it goes to show, like, just because someone's having a little bit of a breakdown doesn't mean that they're still not the same person, or just because they're evolving in some sort of, I don't know, she just will always be Storm, and nobody can write her like Claremont can. It just feels like an artifice, you know what I mean? He never made her sound sometimes she just sounds a little unnatural. I think oddly, like the X-Men 90s cartoon was sort of like great in a lot of ways, just the way she spoke. But I don't know, like the way, and I guess everything Scott Lobdell wrote just felt like, I can't believe it's not Claremont in like such a bad way, like such a punny, horrible spin on it, just like, ugh, like yuck, whatever. Anyway, nothing can top Claremont written Storm, and just so many great Storm-inspired collaborations. You know, Art Adams comes to mind. John Byrne, of course, drew the most beautiful Storm, in my opinion. Paul Smith, amazing Storm. Rick Leonardi, X-Men 201 duel. I mean, come on. The list goes on and on and on. And, you know, great to have Claremont writing, you know, like this new Gambit series or whatever. But he's got so much in him, and I think he still has such a connection to Storm. And I feel like Storm deserves... I mean, she's sort of settled into this place of, like, what Claremont has created with her. And I think he's the only one who could elevate it a little more. So let's get... Oh, God, what kind of crazy good artists could we have, like, collaborate with Claremont on a... Like, I don't know, maybe it's a multi-chapter Storm, you know, sort of annual or 80-page giant by Claremont, and like one chapter is by Art Adams. Oh my God, I'm like on Fantasy Island here. One's by Paul Smith, one's by oh my God, who else? Rick Leonardi. He would definitely sign up for this, I feel, and just like kill it. And just love, oh, Walt Simonson is perfectly welcome, like, please. Oh my God, like, even if it was only like 3 or 4 pages each, and like fucking like move a mountain, make something amazing happen, celebrate the fact that John Byrne is recovering from cataract surgery, and reunite Byrne and Claremont on like a new 8-page Storm story. Like, how fucking amazing would that be? Pardon my French. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say. That was crazy. Secret Wars 2, Paul Smith, Doctor Strange. Oh my God, love the Thing. One of the best issues of Fantastic Four, even though people will lament Secret Wars 2, but I said it before and someone commended my saying it. Like, I didn't know I was supposed to hate it. I loved Secret Wars 2. I living for everything about this. I mean, all of my favorite characters on one page together, like Fantastic Four, Avengers, West Coast Avengers, Fantastic Four. I already said them. Anyway, Doctor Strange. Give me a break. So much fun. One of my favorite issues of Uncanny X-Men 198, Life, Death, Part 2 by Claremont and WINDSOR-Smith. Looking for that artist edition. Subscribe to my channel, hit like, share my content, and I'll bring you some more later.